moderating this meeting today. So she will be answering questions in the chat. So any questions that you have, you go ahead and plunk them in the chat. And if she's able to answer them right away, she'll do that. But we'll take a few moments at the end also to answer some questions. So I've got our topic today is teaching with Google Meet, which is our big tool right now. And you guys will all get an entry into the raffle that we host for the Food for Thought for being here today. And then at the point that we're able to get back onto campus, I will host that raffle. So hopefully it'll be this year. But if not, then I guess we'll do it next year at the beginning of the year. Also, you get an extra raffle entry if you go ahead and tweet out onto Twitter what we're working on today and use the hashtag GISD always connected. You can also do RHS We Ready. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So teaching with Google Meets, I've got kind of 8 big topics that I thought might be helpful for teaching with Google Meets. Starting with scheduling, we've got the waffle, which I know a few people had been talking about they didn't know about. Launching a meeting, recording a meeting, sharing your screen, teaching to an empty room, and the meeting opening page, and then some extra resources. I was thinking we could kind of skip around a little bit because scheduling meets, I think most of us were able to figure that out. If am I correct in that, or am I totally off base?
No, I got it figured out. I put the code at the top of their Google Classroom, and I'm just using the same one every day. That way I don't have to keep sending links out.
Perfect, perfect. And then you can always, in your Google Classroom, click on those triple dots and you can push a topic back up to the top of the stream. So you can kind of always keep your Google Meet at the top of the stream. All right, so then, do you want to talk about the waffle? Let's talk about the waffle. All right, so a lot of you probably already knew this because I think I have a lot of Google certified educators here, but for those of us who aren't, that waffle, when you go to the home page on Google, it's this little button here. When you click it, you get all of the Google products available. And the one that we're using is Hangout Meets, not to be confused with Hangout Chat. That one is really more of a chat functionality. Meet is the one that has the meeting capabilities. Sorry if there's any background noise. I've got some munchkins in the background. Oh, I forgot to mention, I made this with Genially, and if you opened the link that Angie sent out, if you tap on that button in the upper right-hand corner, it'll show you all of the interactive points on the presentation, so you can kind of know where to click. All right, so forging ahead, launching a meeting is pretty simple. I think most of us have figured that out as well. It really should just be as simple as clicking the link, or if you're getting to Meet through the waffle, you can enter in the code for that. Recording a meeting. So it's always important that you make sure that you tell people that you are recording a meeting. You have to stop that recording at the end. And if you don't, it'll just kind of keep recording into space. Once you stop the recording, it'll automatically be saved into your Google Drive. And there's going to be a folder that pops into your Google Drive kind of automatically called Meet Recordings. And from there, you can take that recording and share it with your PLC, put it in your PLC agenda, or put it wherever you need to put it. If there's maybe you had during office hours, people were asking really good questions and you want to share that with the rest of your class, you could do that as well. Just be careful that you're not sharing students without their permission.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When we are recording these meetings with the kiddos, and some of them join in later on, do we have to repeat that we're recording this every time one of them joins, or is it just the one time at the beginning?
It's good etiquette to kind of always say it. In fact, there have been some people who have joined since I last said it. So this meeting is being recorded. It's probably good etiquette, and you can always teach them to kind of, check that upper left-hand corner to see if the meeting is recording. That's going to be one of those like norms that we kind of work on with our students. Like, this is what to expect. I'm going to be recording the meetings. You can always check it and ask questions if you have questions. Does that make sense? I don't know if I answered your question all the way. Okay, so, and I've tested it. I have not been able to get recording to work on an iPad. So as far as I know, if you are only working on an iPad, then we don't have the capability to record meetings through that platform. So really, you got to be on a Chromebook or a laptop in order to record. All right, so go back to the beginning. We talked about recording a meeting, sharing your screen. And so this one, in order to share your screen, is this something that, have you guys had any luck with this or any practice with this one so far?
I've had students who shared their screens with me, but I haven't had a reason to go the other way. It's a little buggy, but it's not too bad.
It takes a little bit of getting used to. And I'll be honest, guys, I sat down and I practiced before today. I practiced this right now because I wanted to make sure that I had it down so that I was used to it. So when you hover your mouse over the screen, you're going to get that bar that pops up with the name of the meeting and your mute and your camera button. And then you're going to click on the Start Presenting button. And when you do, you see the option to share your entire screen or just a window. I usually go with just a window, so I pop out my presentation out of the window that my meeting is in. And then, so my meeting is in one window and then my presentation's in another window. And that keeps that, you know, like a house of mirrors, when you put two mirrors next to each other and you get like that zooming in effect, it keeps that from happening and it just is a little bit cleaner. It's also really important when you're presenting, especially when there are students present, that you make sure that your extra tabs are closed, that your email is closed. Anything that's going to pop up with a notification during your office hours, try to close that out or work on a different computer or whatever. You can have two computers going. That way it's just going to help protect your privacy and it's going to be more professional. Okay. What questions do you guys have about sharing your screen?
I don't have any questions, Mary, but I do suggest we discussed this in our whole group PLC yesterday, and Cherish Park actually got with Tanika and we created a landing page for our office hours, so that when, you know, so because I mute my camera and my mic, and then I present in a different window, that one Google slide that says all my information on it. So when they get there, they know I'm there, and they can read that information, and it gives me time to switch over to the meet to greet them.
Well, gosh, Miss O'Leary, that is the perfect segue into our next topic, or I'm sorry, number 7, which is the meeting opening page. That was something I was going to discuss today. So it kind of gives your presentation in your office hours like a polished, finished look. I used Genially to make my presentation today, but as Miss O'Leary stated, just a Google slide or a PowerPoint or whatever is a great way to set that up. So you can create like a template of an opening landing page where you can put information for the students. Think of this like an anchor chart. You can put common misconceptions or anything that you want to clarify to your students that you know that they're asking a lot of questions about. You can definitely put that up there. Establishing your office hour norms, because the students are new to this as well. So they may not think about things like muting their microphones interrupting the speaker, wearing school appropriate clothing. So it's a good thing to just kind of remind them about those sorts of things. And this green button here is a template for you. So if you click on that in your presentation, it will make a copy of a template into your Google Drive that you can then use to set up as your meeting opening page. And like Ms. O'Leary stated, during your office hours, it's kind of awkward to just sit in a meeting by yourself and stare at yourself for like 2 hours straight. So what you can do is you can set up that opening page, turn on the little doorbell sound so that it's going to make noise if someone enters the room. And you can set up your laptop and go do the dishes while you're in your office hours. And if somebody pops in, well, then, you just unmute your screen, unmute your computer, and show your screen and show your face, and tell them that you're there and help them with whatever they need. So it's kind of a good way you can use it to multitask. Okay, I skipped over one. So this is kind of the meat of what I wanted to talk about today, teaching to an empty room. Google Meet, the links are kind of permanent and that room is there. And so you can go into your Google Meet link at any point, and you could go in there and teach a whole lesson and record it, and then take that recording and share that to your Google Classroom. So you don't even necessarily have to have the students there in your office hours. You can go into your Google Meet and teach them a small chunk of what they need to know, and then share that out with your class so that they've got that as a resource. Makes it a little bit more personal than just like, here's a random YouTube video I found on the internet. Let them see your face and let them know that you're still there and you are still their teacher. It's really going to help a lot with our kids and their social emotional states during a really stressful time in everyone's life. The key to this is that you're going to want to make sure that in your Google Drive, you set your share permissions the correct way. So that's going to be a right click on the title of the recording, and then make sure that your link sharing is turned on, and then you can grab that link and put it where you need it to be. All right. The last thing that I had to talk about was our resources. I feel like I went through that really quickly, but I don't like to waste people's time. So I've got some resources here. Again, if you click on that pointer button, you can see all of the links that are active in this web page. I don't know if I have the digital learning website linked on there correctly. I might need to fix that. Excuse me. Ditch That Textbook, really great resource. Fried Technology, they're putting out all kinds of videos that are really, really helpful. And Control-Alt-Achieve is a great blog to read. This one and Ditch That Textbook, they provide lots of templates that you can use as well. And then there's the GridView extension. Now I do have to give a word of caution with this one because we don't know exactly what data they're taking on the user end. So we need to make sure that we respect our student privacy. So please don't share that resource with the students for them to install, but you can go ahead and install it on your computer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that is it. I feel like I went through that at blazing fast speed, so I probably missed some stuff, or you guys probably have some questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There it is. Where do we find this PowerPoint that you were sharing with us? Just in that Genially?
Yes. So I think Angie put that text in there, put that link in there, or she can put that link in there again. It looks like she put that down at 105 if you scroll up a little bit.
I see it.
And Genially is kind of like Google Slides or PowerPoint, but it's a little bit more powerful, but a little bit trickier to kind of get used to. So, but it's worth playing around. And now that we've got a little bit of time on our hands, it might be one to kind of play around with. It's a really good one to make like a digital escape room or some interactive kind of tools. Okay. So what other questions are there in the chat?
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm wanting to do that opening page for my meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the template, clicked it on, went ahead and added my name and office hours. How do I get that connected to the actual actual page?
So you're going to do that by presenting your screen. So
Okay.
in your office
Got it.
hours, set
Yep.
that up in a separate window and just present your screen.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions that I need to address from the chat, Angie?
Dina Jones was asking about the best way to present math problems. And Martine said Jamboard's a possibility. And then the AWW app, like Awe, is another one.
Mhm.
Anybody else out there have any suggestions as what's worked for you?
I downloaded the Doceri onto my laptop, and that seemed to work well, but that's only a trial version for 30 days. So, that
Right.
I'll work with that, and I'll try the other. I don't know if the district license would flow over to the laptops, and I don't know if you're using your iPad with Doceri, but that's all you're using to present. I don't know what the limitations are. I got it to work for me.
Okay. I might play around with that. If I joined the meeting with my iPad and presented on that, but then also had my Chromebook going so I could record, I might be able to work that and make that work. I'll play around with it, and I will let math and science know, because I think they're the kind of the main ones that would need that capability.
Yeah, and I don't know, the other apps that they were mentioning might be better. I had to download the desktop version to the laptop, and then I, ran Doceri with the connection going.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to present one of your tabs with Google Draw open, and then you can handwrite in Google Draw.
Oh.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Google Draw would definitely work. And Jamboard is going to kind of work similarly to that. I think, as Martine mentioned, Jamboard.
So those might be better than going with the Doceri route.
Yeah.
Doceri is like the best for the actual drawing piece. It's just nice. It's real slick. The others are just good, but they're free.
Yeah. And I know Wickerwitz said she paid for Doceri because she was willing to do that, but I don't want you guys to have to pay for apps at this point.
The issue, if we were on campus, we'd be fine because we can access the license from the district computer. That's the issue. It's not being able to access it from the district computer.
I will say that years ago when we started using Doceri, we downloaded the free trial, and even though it says it lasted 30 days, it lasted for like 2 years. You just can't
last until we go back to school, at least.
And a lot of companies have been extending their free trials out to teachers. So yeah, maybe that's one of those that they'll just kind of hand wave it for right now. I don't know though exactly, but I'll do some research into that. Trying to use Doceri with your iPad. I don't know.
Well, it's not hard. Like, you have to connect it. Like, you just take a picture to a connector screen, and it's going to connect you to that computer. And then you would be presenting on your actual laptop, but you would be writing on your iPad.
Yeah, and that would be nice because, like, I have an Apple Pencil. That's really nice to write on my iPad with. So.
And it's what we do in class all the time, so we're just accustomed to doing it with that.
Yeah, and it's tough because everything we know about education has been turned on its head. So,
I have a question. You just brought up the Apple Pencil. So if we use the Google Draw or the Jamboards, if I'm doing a like a tutorial, like you mentioned, and do the Google Meet and present my my screen and speak over that and use Google Draw or Jamboard. So basically, I'm kind of writing on the whiteboard as I'm presenting. What do we use? Because I forgot all of my pens at home. I have, a box of, home is school for me, but I forgot them at school. And so what do we use I've got a Chromebook. So what can I use to write on the screen if I don't have that pen?
Just a pencil.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I still wanted to be sure.
Well, it depends on which Chromebook you have, because if you have one of the older library Chromebooks, a pencil will work. If you have one of the newer Lenovo's, like the students have, the pencil does not work. You'd have to use your finger or stylus on that one.
Okay.
I've never gotten a number 2 pencil to work on the new new Chromebook.
How do you know which one you have? I have no idea.
When did you get it? When did you get your Chromebook?
At the very beginning of the year.
You probably have the new one that doesn't work with a pencil.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only folks who have the ones that work with the pencil got them like last year in that very first batch of Chromebook.
Okay. Or like the ones in the library, which I know.
Ours are half and half. We have, because we got more. We have some that are from this year that are Lenovo, which I didn't realize the pencil didn't work. So all the ones I passed out then don't work.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for that one.
No, hey, an answer is an answer at this point. So I'll accept any feedback that you're providing, Mary. Thank you so much.
Yep. Oh, man. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I had to cover. So if there, are there any more questions? And they don't have to be about Google Meet. They could be about anything, honestly.
I'm thankful for everybody who is doing all this support.